What is up, you guys? Ryan Brewer back here, the host of Michael Myers Reacts, and today I am joined with Slasher Movies 410 once again to do Talking Horror number 2. Now, I know a lot of you are probably confused and like, how is this horror? This is Joker. This ain't horror, but I have the argument, and I don't know what Slasher Movies' thoughts are on this, but Joker has horror elements to it, so it all works out pretty decent. To me, it falls under the category of like Jaws and Terminator. Like, people can call them horror movies, but technically they're not horror movies. I kind of feel that way about Joker. But yeah, so we're here to talk about Joker. I'm not going to blab in this intro too much. If you guys haven't checked out Slasher Movies 410 YouTube channel, his link will be in the description down below. But with that being said, what are your thoughts on Joker 2019, man?
Hey man, thanks again for having me on the show.
Yep.
I really enjoyed Joker 2019. In my opinion, it's film of the year, easily.
Agree.
Best film 2019. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. There's elements in the movie that were questionable at times. I did write down a couple notes as well to talk about that and elaborate on it more. But overall, it was a very enjoyable movie. Easily a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so in my opinion, I'm not sure what you think about this, but in my opinion, Arthur's girlfriend being like a fake entity or another imagination was a little bit predictable for me. What would you say about that?
Okay, that actually completely tricked me in the movie because, I mean, I knew that, like, okay, I thought, I wasn't 100% sure. Like, I knew he didn't just get her because in the movie, he just kind of kisses her out of nowhere, and I'm like, how?
Right.
I thought there was something up with it, but the movie, like, it went on for so long that the movie actually kind of had me like, maybe they are dating. Maybe they just didn't show us something. And then when he's in her house and she's like, what are you doing here? Because obviously that was all in his head. And it's like, holy crap. Like, I kind of seen it coming, but at the same time, the movie kind of tricks you. Well, at least it did for me. I was kind of like, well, are they dating? Did I miss something? Like, what's going on? And then when that happened, I was like, holy crap. This was all in his mind. And speaking of that, Joaquin Phoenix is a terrific actor. Like, you really believe that he is like a mental dude. You know what I mean?
I completely agree, man. And you're not alone, because I had some friends that I've actually seen the movie with, and they were in complete shock when Arthur's girlfriend, she was in the apartment and Joaquin Phoenix walked in and all that, and everyone in the audience just like gasped. They were total, it was a great scene. But to me though, it was a little predictable because just the way they were delivering their lines, it didn't feel organic to me, so I knew something was up. To me personally, it felt a little unnecessary, but it really did not affect the course of the film at all. I thought it was okay for what it was, but I do think she will be back for the next film, and she's going to have a much bigger role in this one.
Yeah, maybe. I think I kind of see what you're saying, how it was kind of unnecessary. But at the same time, I kind of see why they did do it because, again, he is a mental person. And since he kind of interacted with her on the elevator, maybe, he's seen her as an attractive woman, of course. And he was like, oh, well, in his head, that's his girlfriend. That's somebody who he really likes. So I kind of see why they did it. But I do kind of agree with you that it was a little unnecessary, but it doesn't affect the movie.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. So, I figured now maybe we could talk about a favorite scene. So, what would be your favorite scene?
Oh, my favorite scene. Before I get into that, there's a whole bunch of amazing, great scenes in this film. But my favorite scene is when Arthur obviously goes to the Murray show. I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. My favorite scene personally is when Arthur went to the children's hospital and he dropped the gun.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Not only was the moment hilarious, but it also showed Arthur's caring side, and he wanted to make like other children, happy as a whole, and it was kind of heartwarming to see. Even though it was funny the way the scene played out, it was very heartwarming, and it shows that Joker had like a good side to him.
Yeah, it was a good scene. There, I mean, almost every scene with Joaquin on screen, aka Arthur, was really good. I mean, there's a lot of great scenes. Of course, the ending scene with the blood smile, amazing. What other scene is there? There's the scene where There are spoilers in this, by the way. I just wanted to say that right now. The scene where Arthur, I forget the guy's name, but he killed the guy who gave him the gun. Um, the guy's on the subway. You know, there's so many good scenes in this movie.
Yeah, man, and the pacing of this film, everything that's shot in this film is done so beautifully,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel rushed. It feels, the pacing is just absolutely incredible. It takes its time, it's self-aware, knows exactly what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Nothing feels rushed, and that's what I love about it overall.
Yeah, for me, it is the best movie of 2019, and to me, it is a perfect movie. I give it a 10 out of 10 personally. I enjoy this movie so much. I've seen the movie about 2 to 3 times now, and it's great. It gets even better each watch. Like you fall more in love with the film. But it's just so good. I don't really know how else to put it. Like if you haven't seen Joker 2019, you guys have to definitely check it out. Like seriously.
Yeah. Also, do you want to briefly talk about the Arthur Fleck scene when he met Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, sure.
So what do you think about that? Like, because I know that in this movie they have a huge age gap difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the whole. I mean, I kind of like. Okay, I know that Joker's a DC film. I really think they could have went without the Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne thing. I'm glad that they didn't go too deep into it. Um, it's kind of cool. I know it's a huge gap because obviously Bruce is a kid and Arthur's an adult already. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it was okay. That's probably one little pet peeve I have with it. Because, like I said, they could have went without that, but I'm not mad that they did do it. I like the whole conflict between Arthur and Thomas Wayne. I thought that was kind of cool, like, you know, because Arthur thought that was his dad or whatever because his mom lied. I mean, that was kind of cool. It was kind of a twist. I don't think people really expected that, but I kind of figured that they would do something with Bruce Wayne because obviously it's Joker, which is connected to Batman. So, I mean, my thoughts on that really is it was kind of unnecessary, but at the same time, it works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you think Bruce Wayne or Batman will appear in the sequel?
I really hope not, to be honest. I read, I don't know if this is true or not because there's so many rumors that go online and Facebook that Warner Brothers was already talking about it being a trilogy. If it does, I'm not saying it is, I'm not confirming it or anything because I don't know anything what Warner Brothers has going on. If it does become a trilogy, I think they should just stick with the Joker character. Give him his own the trilogy just strictly about Joker. Now you could still bring Bruce Wayne into it and stuff like that, but I don't really want to see Batman in the sequel. Maybe in Joker 3 if they do make it. But the second one, no, I wanted to still focus on Arthur.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing actually. I think they should, if they really want to, I think they should save it for like the end of the trilogy.
Yeah.
And if they're going to do future sequels after that, obviously. But yeah, I mean, this Joker movie was primarily about his origin story, and I think the second one should be about the crimes of the Joker. I want to see like, you know, Joker at his fullest form. I want to see him wrecking the city, being the smart criminal that he is, because now he is that criminal, and everything's gonna play out. That's how I think it's gonna go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're gonna get what you wish because, like you said, the first film is an origin, and you know sometimes origin films don't do very well, but it definitely works for Arthur and Joker. In the second movie, because since he already is Joker, like at the end of Joker, I mean he is Joker as you said. That was my computer, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. But he is Joker now. So when we get into the sequel, he's already Joker. It's going to be more insane than this one. Like he's already there. He's completely snapped. But another thing I wanted to point out, I mean this is kind of obvious, but like everyone who Joker kills in Joker deserves it. You know what I mean? Like he's not necessarily the villain in this movie in my eyes. I don't know about you, but
no, yeah, I view him as the protagonist, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah,
like you really feel sorry for Arthur in this movie because let's think about it. He was adopted and he never knew.
Mm-hmm.
His stepmother allowed his abuse to continue. He has a severe laughing condition that he has to go through on a daily basis that he can't control.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to support his stepmother. And he dreamed to become a comedian, and he's trying his best. People just continue to give him crap and laugh at him, and not take him seriously, and he
Yeah.
got fired at his job. So he is being shoved to the ground in this movie. And what kind of reminds me of it, but it's not as severe as this movie. But if you've seen Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, you know how Peter
Mhm.
Parker was basically brought down in that movie.
Yeah.
That's what kind of reminds me of. It's reminiscent of that, but this movie is much more severe. With this character is going through a lot more of an emotional state, and Tobey Maguire's character.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. But like I was saying, like, and of course in this one, we feel sorry for Arthur because of what he's going through, and that causes him to do what he does. I think, like you were saying in Joker 2, he's going to be just full out, don't even care anymore. I think he's at that point where he's already over the edge. You know what I mean? Like, he's already to the point where he's like, I don't even care. Like, I'm just going to go freaking crazy.
Yeah, I agree, man. There's not much room for character arc anymore. I mean, he's pretty much he's the pivotal end of the Joker. Like at the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
he's on the car, he's raising his arms, he's got
Yeah.
the crowd. So yeah, I mean, he's full on Joker now, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's full on Joker. So, I mean, the sequel is going to be full on Joker. We're not going to really see, Arthur Fleck like we kind of do in this one. It's Joker. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And another thing, the people are, I'm not sure if there was a name for them or not. Like I said, I've only seen the movie like 2 or 3 times, but his following, the people who, are with Joker that wear the masks, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
I think in the sequel, they're going to have a bigger role too. I think they're going to. I don't know. The ending of Joker is really. It's either is it real or is he just imagining this because he's such a mental in his head. If it is real, I believe that those people will help him break out. If it isn't real, then he's still out on the streets. But either way, I think the people who follow Joker are going to have a way bigger role in the sequel, and I'm kind of excited to see with how they help Joker out.
Yeah, and like you mentioned before, when he's back in the asylum,
Mm-hmm.
I think they did that intentionally because they wanted to make it up to the viewer's interpretation of what actually happened. Because at the end, it appeared that he was free and had essentially taken over the city.
Yeah.
But then he's shown back in the hospital. He's laughing, and then when the psychiatrist asks him what's so funny, and he says he was just thinking of a joke and that she wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe that joke was just him imagining the entire movie. But now that they confirmed that they're doing a sequel, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say that too, that they thought it was all just him imagining like what he could do or whatever. I don't think that's what it is either. I think maybe he got caught or somehow. Maybe they'll of course explain it more in the sequel, but I really don't know, honestly. You know what I mean? It's so questionable because he's such a mental character. Arthur Fleck is such a mental character. It's like you really don't know until we actually see the sequel.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to distinguish actually like what's going on because he did imagine the whole thing, with his so-called girlfriend.
Yeah.
So how do we know what else he's thinking?
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. That's the beauty behind this movie, though. It really gets you thinking. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's cool that it gives us something to talk about and something to think about before the sequel actually gets here. And then, when the sequel does get here, it will answer hopefully, most of our questions because, we're thinking stuff and the movie will answer what we're wondering.
Yeah, and it would feel kind of weird because, the whole protest and like everyone that was against Thomas Wayne,
Yeah.
all the guys with the masks and all that, they pretty much saved him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
The whole city was on fire basically, and it would feel kind of weird if all of a sudden, he's back in the mental institution.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ending scene, is actually what was described earlier in the film when he was already in the institution.
Maybe, or I just had another thing I just thought of. Maybe Joker is still free, but maybe he's thinking about like when he was in there, and maybe you're right. Maybe that was from like before, and maybe he was thinking of what might become, like what he might do, and that's why he's like, you wouldn't get it because it hasn't happened yet. I just thought about that.
Yeah, man, that's a really interesting thought. Yeah, that could definitely occur. I
Yeah,
could definitely see that happening.
that would be pretty cool, actually. I think that'd be sick because it's almost like he knew what he was going to do, or he knew what might happen to him when he got into society or whatever.
hmm Also, another thing that kind of bothered me, if we could switch gears for a little bit,
Yeah.
it was during the Murray Franklin show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once Arthur just confessed to killing those three guys on the subway, I think it would have made more sense if Murray actually tried to get him off the stage as soon as possible, but instead he continued to talk to Arthur. I know it's for plot convenience, of course, but I think it would have been a little more realistic if he was a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well,
um,
yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I think what I get from that scene and why he kept interviewing Arthur is because he was getting the truth out of him. Maybe he wanted
mhm,
to have him confess, so obviously the police could catch him and they could figure out the whole deal. So maybe he tried to play it off cool. I mean, some people like even in reality, they can get told, "Oh, well, I've murdered this person," and they still try to keep their cool to try to get the whole story out of them. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. But I kind of see what you're saying. He should have been. There should have been at least a brief moment to where he had a kind of a disbelief or kind of freaked out a little bit, and then maybe he calmed down later on. But I
yeah,
see what you're saying.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a point where he's like, "Call the police."
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where he really started to get a little freaked out, or maybe not, because he seemed pretty arrogant when he said that. I'm not sure. It kind of came off as arrogant and like that he didn't really care. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think maybe he was starting to get freaked out because he said, how about another joke? And he starts getting louder, and maybe he thought, something might happen. So maybe he thought, call the police, but he tried to stay calm still. But of course, by that
hmm
time, he already shot him in the head pretty much. That whole
Yeah.
scene, though, there's so much. That whole scene is just perfection to me. I love as soon as he walks. No, even as soon as he's in the dressing room or whatever, and he gets
hmm
out on stage, shoots Murray, and gets up to the camera. From that point in the dressing room all the way to when he gets to the camera, and he's like, "That's the bottom," and it cuts off. That whole
hmm
scene right there is perfection, and there's so much. I don't know. It's just great.
I agree, man. And the score, of course, with
Yes.
Frank Sinatra, "That's Life,"
Yep.
absolutely beautiful. That song you can actually hear a lot in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And also, since this movie took place in the 80s, supposedly, I
Yeah.
believe, I'm guessing the security during the Murray Franklin show wasn't as strict or something, because I don't remember seeing any security there.
Yeah. I think it does take place in the 80s. I think you're right.
hmm
So yeah, of course, around that time, like in the 80s and stuff, I don't think it would be like today. So I,
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. They probably weren't. There may not even been security there at all. Who knows?
yeah. Also, the stairs scene we can't forget about, absolutely
Yeah.
iconic. And I feel like that specific scene in general is going to go down in history. And I really think years from now, may not be now, but this movie will be indeed a classic in
Yep.
time.
I
We
agree.
just have to let the movie age a little bit more.
I agree. This movie will be iconic in my opinion. Not, of course, like you said, not anytime soon because it's a relevant movie, but 20, 30 years from now, Joker is going to be looked back, as you said, like a classic and an iconic film. Like people are going to look back at this film and it's still going to be loved. I mean, this film was just so incredible. We haven't had a good DC movie since like The Dark Knight, in my opinion, with Heath Ledger. Of course, Heath Ledger's performance was amazing as well. But
hmm
this is a Justice League was not really good at all. Like it's weird talking about superheroes on my channel, but Justice League was not good at all. Batman vs Superman was Man of Steel was it was good, but Joker to me is the best DC movie since The Dark Knight.
Right, and the Joker to me is the best villain in the DC universe,
Oh,
hands
for
down.
sure.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, people could argue the Riddler and the Penguin. I don't see it personally.
Nah.
Um,
Yeah.
I, but I would love to see Todd Phillips do a movie with another character. I think that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. But Joker has always been my favorite villain ever in like comic book history or superheroes in general. Joker to me, like ever since I seen The Dark Knight, I always wanted there to be a solo Joker movie because I love the character of Joker so much. Like, I have this obsession with Joker. I love Joker so much. Joker is like my favorite villain of all time, pretty much. And him finally getting his own movie, and this movie being, in my opinion, perfect, was great. Because, you know, when you're a fan of like Halloween or whatever it may be, Joker or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, you always want the movies to do good, but you don't always get that. I saw the trailer to Joker and I was like, it looks all right. But when I went in to see the movie, it blew me away. I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, same here. The trailer had me interested, but when I actually saw the movie in the cinemas for the first time, I was blown away. I couldn't believe what I just watched. Like, I immediately wanted to pre-order it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I didn't get around to it, obviously, because I've been really busy with school, and it was in November, and all that. But I watched it about like 3 or 4 times after that.
Wow, nice. I've seen it about 2 or 3 times, and it gets better after each watch, and I can't wait to watch it again. And I'll probably watch it again here soon.
And what's interesting, in the very beginning of this scene, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure this was an Easter egg. You know when he's doing that creepy smile in the mirror, and it's the very first scene, basically painting his face. The shape of the mirror is basically like the bat symbol.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was like a wide shot, and I could like tell. If you go back and look at it, you'll be able to see it. But very, very cool stuff. I love the Easter eggs in this film too.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. I'll definitely have to check that out again next time I watch that for sure.
Yeah. So, out of curiosity, I was wondering, who is your favorite Joker to date?
My favorite Joker of like all time?
Yeah.
Heath Ledger for sure.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's kind of not fair to compare the two Jokers because they're two completely different Jokers. Like, at the end of the spectrum, you know what I'm saying? Like, Heath Ledger's Joker was an anarchist, and he basically created chaos.
Yeah.
But Joaquin Phoenix Joker, he was a loner. You know, society was abandoning him, and chaos pretty much created him in a way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, there's a lot of people who portrayed the Joker, and it's kind of hard to compare any Joker because they're all portrayed differently. But of course, they're playing the same character of Joker. They're all playing Joker, but they're all different Jokers. So it is hard to compare them unless they were doing the exact same type of like character arc, which they're not the same. Like even Jack Nicholson's to Joaquin's is different. But if you're talking about like who played the Joker best out of just any Joker, it's definitely Heath Ledger. The way he plays Joker, even to this day, is perfect to me as well. For the longest time, I know that Heath Ledger died not long after The Dark Knight was released or whatever. But for the longest time, I wanted Heath Ledger to get his own Joker movie, but unfortunately he died. Because I wanted that as soon as I seen The Dark Knight. I was like 9, and I was like, I'd love to see him do just a plain Joker movie. I love Joker. I like The Dark Knight more for Heath Ledger's Joker than Batman.
I agree, man.
And
I feel like the Joker is a much more interesting character overall.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like Batman's a cool character and all, but you know, there's so much that you want to know about the Joker that you don't know, and it's the thought of uncertainty that really makes you invested in his character.
Yeah, I agree. Joker is the best villain in comic book history, in my opinion.
Agreed, and I also love the Batman 1989 film with Jack Nicholson too.
Yeah, and Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, do you have anything else you want to say about Joker 2019, or?
I think I'm good, man. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, we covered a lot. So, as you guys can tell, me and Slasher Movies both really enjoy Joker 2019. It is an amazing film. If you guys did enjoy this podcast, definitely leave a like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. If you guys have not seen Joker, definitely watch it. Like, I can't stress that enough, especially if you're a Joker fan. Actually a movie fan in general. Like, it's just an amazing movie. You don't even have to be a Joker fan to enjoy this movie, in my opinion.
Right, and you don't even have to like know about the Joker per se. Like, you could just sit and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely check it out. Definitely check out Slasher Movies channel. If you guys did enjoy this, like and subscribe. And we will see you guys on the next Talking Horror.